Hello, beautiful.
Oh, stunning.
So do you. I took your advice and I was like, myself feel good. I'll perform better. Come on, outside.
He's so happy.
Meet Cass Grod. Hey, I know. I would be so excited.
It's the Sass with Cass cap. How good. I am joined today by a woman who has not only transformed my life, but transformed the lives of countless others. From early days admiring Bridal to running, owning, and creating what is famously known as the Pink Palace with the chimney. Natalie Rose Bridal is much more than a boutique, it is a dreamland. Stocking premium international brands and offering both hybrid and bespoke gowns.
We do.
We do. Fairy godmother Natalie herself has redefined what it means to find the dress. Boasting almost 48k, 47.5k on Instagram, and with videos soaring well above, some over 4 million, some towards 18 million, she has truly set herself apart from the entire industry and is a bridal trailblazer. She has made not only countless weddings very special, but my life very special. So Nat, welcome to Sass with Cass.
Thank you. You're making me emotional already. I'm like, bloody hell.
I know.
I'm holding it in.
Good friend also. It's like, I can follow you around and say that if you like.
Yes, please. Yes,
It helps
please.
people.
Thank you, honey. That was beautiful.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you for doing this.
You're welcome.
You're a Sass with Cass listener.
Like
She listens to
5+
every episode.
years. 5+ years.
Wow.
Yeah, and that's why I said to you, this is surreal.
It is.
Like, I found you so long ago.
What would it have been, 2019?
It was when we moved back to New Zealand.
Okay.
And so that was during COVID, because I was in a lockdown, like, COVID hotel room. Right? So I found you then.
Because you guys had to do the quarantine.
Yeah, we had to do the quarantine.
Oh my
which is also when I found my shop. During, like, I was looking at spaces and leases.
No.
Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Isn't it? And I've actually just
Where
clicked
did you
onto that.
quarantine?
We
In some host, because it was
Sheraton.
all the hotels.
Sheraton Hotel.
Stop it. So you're in the Sheraton Hotel.
Yeah.
And you were living in the UK.
No, so we'd moved back from the UK
Moved back from the UK.
to New Zealand. Knew we wanted to move, immigrate. We knew we were doing the shop. That was like, it was the
Okay, so you
time.
had the idea.
Yes,
We were
yes.
in process.
Yes, and yeah, we were in our quarantine hotel, and I was looking at spaces for lease in Parnell. And yeah, I found it. I remember talking to the agent while I was in that hotel, like, I can come see you next week Thursday. I've got to get out of quarantine, you know? So yeah, I mean, I've been listening to you since then, which
Oh my
is wild.
gosh. Crazy.
Religiously listening too.
Aw.
Yeah.
I know, like, I'm like, sometimes I record my podcast, I'm like, well, I'm basically just speaking to Nat and my best friend Lauren right now. No one else listens, it will be them too.
We absolutely
Which
will.
I massively appreciate.
Yeah, I mean, I've got episodes from you that I've listened to multiple times. Yeah. And like, I like share them with the world. I'm like, you listen to this, it'll get you back on track, you know?
Aw.
Like, yeah, truly.
When did we do our first shoot?
2023. November 2023. So it's 2025 now.
Because Nat DM'd me on Instagram, and was like, would you model? And I was like, yes, I'd love to. And I'd always kind of seen myself like doing that kind, like modeling bridal. I had a lot of friends. A friend of mine, Hannah, was doing it a lot at the time.
Yes.
So it kind of, and then you messaged me and it felt really organic and natural. Yes. And then we had our first shoot, which I think was close to 8 hours, 7 hours.
Yeah, it was a huge day.
It was a big day, but it was just magic and fun and easy and effortless. And I was like, I'm obsessed with them. How cool. I'm obsessed with Natalie.
Yes.
I love this. I get to be a princess. And we just had the best time. And then all the content performed so well. And we were like, friendship, business, creativity, we're on.
It was wild.
It was wild.
I think, honestly, like, I say this a lot about people. I like fell in love with you through the screen, like so many other people. Aww. And I was just like, how do I bring this person into my life? And I honestly knew that we were like meant to work together. It was one of those like moments, like synchronicity, serendipity, whatever you want to call it, where I was like, no, you're in the fold, and like we're meant to be doing life together, and it's just been magic. Like, there is no other way to put it.
And Nat and I were actually talking about this when we shot some content the other day.
Yeah.
When you have that gut obsession or pull towards like someone or something in business or even just personally, often that's because there's a story there that's meant to be told. And so you're like, gosh, why am I so almost captivated? Because I know that sensation that you're talking about, but I really believe it's because there's this, it's the universe like tapping on your shoulder and going, actually, there's something here for you. It's not just through the screen.
Yeah.
Which is what
100%.
happened.
1000%. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I think my life, like you said, your life changed when you met me. My life 100% changed when I met you. And like not only from a business perspective, but I think sometimes it's hard to find like-minded people. And yeah, you're one of these like rare women who you're confident, but you also want to see other women thrive. Like there's never
I was about to literally explain you like that.
Yeah, and
like exact same.
And I think it's the same with Alia. Like you're such a giver, and I think sometimes you can find yourself with people who are takers, and that's okay. Like I love giving. Like I'm always like paying for lunches, and that's just the way I am. I just want to give. And so when you're around people who also give, it's like this crazy, you know, like when we film content, I see you doing the most. I'm like, Cass, be a fairy princess. Like there's no, like you don't leave anything on the table. You're like, I've got this. It's so freaking
running down the road in a dress or something.
Yes. Yeah. And I think that absolutely comes across. Like when people are like, you know, how do you do this? What are you doing? Like That's
a lot of the listener questions.
Sorry. But like truly, I think it's the energy that's being captured. You know, and it's that love and it's the adoration and it's all of those things. It's genuine, it's pure, and you're drawn to that. How can you not be?
And it's so cool, I think, like finding a woman like yourself where you're giving or I'm giving, and there's no like expectation, there's no set of I'm going to get something back from this. It's just I have a full cup, you have a full cup, we're both creative people, and we're like, oh, you should try this or do this or let's do this, and it's just genuine, and you feel like you're on this magical kind of golden path.
Absolutely.
And I think that's very hard to find, and that's what I saw in you so quickly, and how fast you are to uplift others so authentically is just amazing. And I think that makes you very good at what you do. Obviously, because it's a bridal, and which we'll get into, is an industry about making other people feel great.
1000%.
So you've got to feel, well, do you feel like you've had to work on feeling good in yourself before you can make other people feel good? Or did you just naturally have that ability?
I'm the friend who, if you would come round before a night out and I didn't like what you were wearing, I would change your outfit. Be like, you don't look hot enough, bitch. Like, you're putting this on, put some false eyelashes on her. And I'm like, okay, now we're going out. Like, not to toot my own horn, but I've always had the superpower of being the hype girl. Like, I used to think
Such a hype girl.
Yeah, I used to think I wanted to go into like therapy for sexual health or women's health.
Cool.
Like that was kind of where I saw myself. And so it definitely comes natural to me. And I've grown up around women. I've had no like men in my life really until Leighton. So my like comfort is women, you know? And yeah, it does come naturally, but I truly like adore meeting people and like seeing the beauty in them, and I just like feel so lucky to do this work. Like it's a dream. It's an actual fucking dream. Like the most important thing they'll ever wear, often the most expensive thing. They put more thought into it than buying their house. You know, and I get to be part of that.
That's way more important than buying a house.
Way more important than buying a house. You can change a house.
Leighton's like, oh my God.
You know?
You can change anything. I don't even really care about the house that much compared to my wedding dress.
Yeah.
I would lose sleep over a dress before a house.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I lose sleep over dresses all the time. God, I could tell you so many. The amount of nights I've lost.
Sleep over a dress.
Oh, 100%. My goodness. But yeah, I think I just feel so genuinely lucky, and I genuinely adore women. They are my biggest inspiration. Don't get me wrong, I do, like, there are lots of men that I admire in life, but like, I I just think women are the most captivating, fascinating creatures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you have to, I guess your role is you take that and you see someone's beauty and then you literally craft and create around that. You're picking something that represents them, like what's inside them, physically, externally, which is such a talent.
Absolutely. I always say, like, who do you want to be on that day? And I say, just realize you might find the one 5 times. And people are like, what? And I'm like, because you don't always have one version of you. You might have 5 versions
Me
of
in
you.
my head being 5 people on my wedding day, I was like, what girl would I pick?
Well, for you, honey,
like,
for you, we're going to do 5.
Yes,
100%, no question about it.
It's like I have so many personalities.
Yeah, and we want to honor them all.
We're so multi-faceted.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. And so it's like, you've got to pick 1, maybe 2, if you've got the budget. But yeah, like it is about figuring out the inside and bringing that into the dress. And what I love is when someone's like, oh, like they'll put something on, they won't know what it is about the dress, but there'll be something about it that feels like them.
Yeah.
And it's those little moments, like it'll be the way the neckline's quite severe and it's a really simple dress, but there'll be something severe about the neckline and it'll just feel like them. And no one knows why, but it just is.
Wow.
And I love that stuff. And it's like, that's that like magic that you get to witness on the daily, you know?
Do you find that people often pick things that maybe they wouldn't expect? Or do you, in general, are people picking the things that they would like? Because I remember I thought my dream dress was Hailey Bieber's dress. That was the photo, that's what I first talked to you about. And when I tried it on, I actually was like, oh, really pretty. But the dresses that I loved were princess dresses.
Yes, because you are a princess.
Thank you. But it's so funny because like that's what I was on all my Pinterest boards.
Yeah.
And then it shifted.
I think it's 50-50.
Yeah.
I really do, because I knew exactly what I wanted and I wore exactly that.
Yeah, but you've had a lot of experience probably with around them.
Of course. So I'm not a great example. Great, Nat. But
No, but
yeah. It is 50-50. And like I actually had a girl, it'll be fine. She's just married in all black. And she came in and like when I saw her, she was like dripping in designer, so glam, so fabulous, so glam. But she showed me what she was looking for. She put that on, wasn't working. She ended up in a fully beaded, like glam dress. And she's like, I never thought I'd wear this. And I'm like, looking at you, this is exactly what I thought you would wear. But people get, I don't want to say brainwashed, but people get exposed to so much online. And so whatever's trending or whatever's trending is like, oh, I'm probably going to wear something along those lines, because it gets into your subconscious.
It does.
Hence, it's so important to curate your feed and your social media, because you do get affected by it.
You do.
So yeah, it's 50-50.
Oh, we'll get into all of that. That's
Yeah. Sorry, I know.
No. But yeah, so many questions around that. So
yes.
Let's go back. Take me back to that quarantine period. Take me back to early days, because I think everyone tapping in now is seeing the reels with the millions of views and, you know, lots of followers and everything up and cranking.
Yeah.
But actually you opened 2020, 4 years ago. That's not that long.
No, it's not.
You know?
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit about the process of when you decided you wanted to open your store in Parnell.
So we'll keep it brief because it is a big one and I don't want to bore anyone, but I was in financial services for 10 years. I got I know, which was a great start
I did not know that.
Yeah, like good. It's been a good foundation for running a business.
Totally.
You know, having those, just having knowledge of finance and business has been significant in running a business. But I was in England and I was actually doing my level 5 certificate in financial advice to come back to New Zealand to become a financial advisor and run my own practice. That's what I thought I wanted to do. And then we were engaged and I was looking at boutiques in New Zealand and I was like, damn, like everything I want, like there's nothing in New Zealand that's going to work. And also backstory to mum made Bridal, but her eyesight was so bad at this point. She's like, I can't, Nat. Like she's older now, of course. And, you know, seeing white on white is like...
To do your dress.
To do my dress. So that's a whole story in itself.
Right,
but I was...
So she couldn't do it.
No. And so I was then going down the track of like...
Finding the dress.
Realised New Zealand was not going to be where I could find my dress.
Right.
quickly, like we had a month or something before we came back to New Zealand, went through the try-on, the boutique process in the UK, because of course you had everything in the UK. You had Vera Wang, you had Vivienne Westwood, you had every single person you could possibly dream of. And through the process of going through the, trying on dresses, a light bulb went off. Like, that's the only way to put it. I was just like, holy fucking shit. This is what I'm going to do. And I'd already saved this capital to start my practice. And I just completely did a 180. A 180.
360.
Back to the same place. I did a complete 180 and I was just like, nah.
Wow.
And I remember, again, being in quarantine, being like, am I fucking crazy? But I just knew. And so,
That's insane.
Yeah, it was a light bulb. And I'm like,
Had you worked in bridal before?
Never.
It's just from your mum and
that I
growing
had
up
that
with
connection.
it.
Yeah.
And had you seen a lot of it growing up?
Not a huge amount. Like, mum always sewed.
Right.
But mum, it was not a boutique. It was not a.
That's what meaning is like she didn't have an
atelier. It was to put food on the table.
Okay.
You know, like it was a necessity. It was something like she
loved.
Yeah.
She was good at.
She just loves fashion and everything and so that was a part of my story when I was little, and I've talked about this before, but you know, we didn't have a lot and kids can be brutal sometimes. Like I remember being a kid and you know, kids being like, oh, my dad does this and he earns this much money and rah rah rah. And the fact that my mum could make wedding dresses was something I was so fucking proud of. And like I would be in these conversations as a 6-year-old or an 8-year-old or whatever, and I'd be like, well, my mum's on benefits and cleans, but she can make wedding dresses. And that was something that I was like tremendously proud
that will
of.
Make me cry. Wow, that's a great story.
Yeah. So
that's so cool.
Yeah. So yeah, it was just something I was always just like, as if mum can do that.
Skill, and it's so unique.
100%.
So unique.
People think that, like, people come in and mums, I love you mums, but bless you, you're like, yeah, I can sew, rah, rah, rah. Sewing a wedding dress is nothing like sewing clothing. It's more similar to making lingerie than making clothing because of all the boning and the underwires and the corsetry. It's and there's just so much that is just so different from apparel, you know?
But the skills that's taught you and your love for bridal and wedding dresses and that authenticity of it, I can totally see how that's lined up. And then you had that crescendo moment of going like, I'm going to open this store.
Yes.
Did you have to upskill in things, or were you like, I've got this?
Yes and no. I think like I'm one of those people when I'm doing something, I'm 150%, you know?
Yeah.
So I decided to work with designers from overseas. Like I decided that was my point of difference in the early days.
Set you apart.
Yes.
The overseas that we didn't have here.
Yes, absolutely. And I was, bringing gowns in, importing from Europe, that sort of thing. So I wasn't physically making the dresses, and I don't physically make the dresses now. We do custom, we do everything. But at that time, and that was a hilarious time, but at that time we were just importing and bringing them over.
I assume that's more expensive.
Yeah, for sure. But
that's the point of difference.
Yeah. And it's really interesting, like, you know, the budget is very important. But I always say to people, like, they'll come in, they'll be like, okay, my budget's X, and they'll fall in love with something that's maybe $1,000 more. And I'll be like, not to upsell them, but just to be like, girl, if you're spending $4,000 on a dress and you don't fucking love it, you're not obsessed with it beyond belief, it's still $4,000.
100%.
Get the one that you are like
100%.
Beyond obsessed with. That's $5,000.
You do this once, hopefully.
You know, like screw the cake. Don't worry. No, I love cake, but screw something else. I don't want to offend any of my friends.
Grow your own flowers.
Yes.
People are doing that apparently now.
Yeah, 100%. I went to a wedding the other day.
Dress over anything.
Yeah.
Dress over anything.
Like you're preaching to the converted here, but yeah, absolutely. A
lot of people asked how you picked your aesthetic
for my shop.
For your shop.
Oh, yeah. I think.
Was it always the Pink Palace?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. I think I'm going to talk a little bit about my childhood because I think I need to get it out.
Yeah.
And like, I think it'll make a lot of sense. A lot of me will make a lot of sense.
Cool.
So I grew up on Waiheke in the 90s. So, you know, in a lot of ways, it was the most idyllic childhood you could possibly imagine. I have like these fond memories of looking for fairies in the garden. And I used to draw these little mushroom villages. Are you making the connection? Yeah. And so, yeah, that was my childhood. And it was beautiful. And I had the most beautiful mum and sister. But the paradox of that was my father, who was very far on the spectrum. We talk about mental health being a spectrum. He was on the very, very far edge. He suffered chronically with bipolar and like a myriad of other mental illnesses. And he was a lot. And I won't go into a lot of that, but yeah, very. He wasn't there a lot of the time. And
I was thinking, was he living?
Yeah. This was when my parents were still together.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. And so, you know, he was a brilliant man and he was extremely talented, unbelievably intelligent. And anyone who met him was so captivated by him. But he unfortunately... Oh, yeah. And he unfortunately chose his illness and his madness and drugs and so much other crap over his family. And so when you meet me or you come into my shop, I am that lived experience. I am the magic and the, you know, the magical upbringing on Waiheke, but I'm also this like darkness, you know, and I'm okay with that. And I think
that's why that's like the whole secret sauce. Hey?
Yes.
Yeah, it's like the pink with the edge.
Yes, you come in and I've got these huge black boots on, and it's like, yeah, I didn't take that from Pinterest, you know.
No.
It is my lived experience. I am me because of my upbringing.
It's probably not even on Pinterest, you know.
Probably
it's just
not.
Because it's who you are.
Yeah. And so, yeah, people are like, oh, you know, where did this inspiration come from? I'm like, it's just who I am.
It's probably your most asked question.
Yeah, really?
Yeah.
Yeah, the space is about coming into a space that brings the inner child out. Because
I was thinking that as you were talking, I was like, wow, this is so powerful for inner child work.
Yes.
And like leaning into what you loved as a child. And that's
Yes.
often what we get far from, but that's
the true self.
The truth. That's like your ship sailing in the right direction almost.
100%.
Yeah.
The aesthetic of the shop, the aesthetic of the gram, all of that is me. Like, I'm obsessed with that stuff. And I think, yeah, as a child, because of the situation sometimes, I lived in my imagination. And I just wanted to create a space that was like unlike anything. And I found that space and I was like, this is iconic. Like, I knew it was iconic before it was iconic. I remember having visions of you taking mirror selfies and getting hundreds of thousands of likes and views. And like,
but it seems like you've kind of had that from the start, like before, because you were originally going into finance, and then even the vision of the store, like I feel like that's almost just come to you the whole way through.
Yeah. It's
connecting to
the universe like telling you you're on the right path is a thing for 100%. Sure. And I've definitely like found myself and found what I meant to do by listening to that. The ether, God, like whatever you want to call it.
How do you listen to that?
It comes in different ways. Mostly it is like an actual physical sign right in front of you, right? Like,
yeah.
You know, like the shop, for example. I remember walking through this door and I was like, it's like a fairy door. This is a fairy's house.
Was it all pink?
No, it wasn't pink, but they let us paint it, but it's the original door.
Cool.
It's got turrets on the outside.
Yeah, I'm trying to imagine
kind
what
of
you would have
wild.
seen. There would have been none of the pink curtains.
No, nothing. There was nothing. It was like a construction site. Like we put in the flooring, like everything, but it had the bones.
Wow.
It had the bones of the place.
And you could see.
Yeah.
And obviously had the chimney.
Yeah, had a chimney door.
And the door out the chimney. Like, who has a door out a chimney?
Right.
No one.
No
in
one.
Life.
No one. People go, do you have wheelchair access? I'm like, we sure bloody do, love. Come on through the chimney. Like, I have to take sometimes, like, grandmas come, right? You get them out of the rest home and they're on their wheelchair.
So sweet.
And they're like, how do I get in? I'm like, don't you worry, honey. Like, come with me. We're going to take you through the chimney. And they're like, what are you doing with grandma? I'm like, she's going through the chimney. We're sending her out.
It's iconic.
Yeah.
Imagine the person building that. They're like, chimney door on.
Well, the shop's very old, right?
Right.
So that part, the downstairs part, like the parlour
Yeah, it's
almost.
got a aliveness to it, like the
Sure
energy.
does. Yeah. We won't get into that.
Yeah, she.
Ali, our girl, shout out. She sorted us out.
Oh, that's so funny.
Yeah, the downstairs is circa 1896 because Parnell's the oldest suburb in New Zealand, like 1800s, like old. Like Parnell has a feeling, right?
It does.
You know,
Did you know you wanted to be in Parnell?
I 100% knew I wanted to be in Parnell.
Just because of.
Because I'd lived there many years ago.
Okay.
And so I had always just thought it was the most beautiful place. And I'm, like, Europe feels like home to me more than New
Yes.
Zealand.
Yeah.
And it feels a bit like Europe. And I just knew it was romantic. And I just imagined girls coming with their entourage and, you know, going to their bridal fitting and then going to NSP for a long lunch. And it just being this day of just like gorgeous, feminine time,
Yeah.
you know?
Happiness. Yeah.
And because honestly, your bridal fittings will be some of the best days of your life. And that's why I was like, I have to make this the most epic space. The experience has to be like so beautiful.
Yeah.
Because they were some of the best moments of my life when I did it with Leighton's mum, bless. Because yeah, mum was obviously in New Zealand and we were in the UK. And so yeah, every little detail counts, you know?
And making it so special
100%.
and memorable.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the space is like so, like such a big part of how we create an experience that actually feels magical. Yeah.
Yeah, it's so, I think people are just so fascinated because they see the translation of the aesthetic onto Instagram. And that's become really, really powerful. You know, just like the pink videos, I guess.
Yes.
And then it's built this identity as
Yes.
the Pink Palace
Yes.
over time.
Oh, yes.
And then the like juxtaposition of you, because Nat is wearing like Alexander McQueen or like Vivienne Westwood, you know, like
Yes.
tartan and black and like
Yes.
big boots.
Yes.
It's so cool to
Yes.
just see that in
Very juxtaposed.
very juxtaposed.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
it's perfect. I love it.
Thank you. Yeah, it's all me.
It's all so Bridal right now, the industry is absolutely booming. It's like totally taking off. And I mean, I had a friend recently talk to me and be like, is it just because we're older or am I going nuts? Like all I see on Instagram and Pinterest and anywhere is bridal. What do you think is creating that endless scale upwards of bridal? Like I think it was America spent like 2 billion last year on bridal or something.
72.
Okay, that's a little bit more than 2
72 billion is their industry over there. Europe's 33. Yeah, it's a freaking crazy industry. I think that's the wedding industry. Sorry,
Right.
so you're probably right about the two.
Yeah.
What do I think is contributing to that? I think, you know, weddings in general are just so visually aesthetic.
Yeah.
And typical Nat's going to get into some like heavy shit here, but I think there's an absolute war on women right now. And this is one thing, this is one space, this is one thing that we absolutely control. This is ours. Men can't really touch it. Like there are some amazing men doing design, don't get me wrong, but it's like our one thing, you know? And so I think that paired with, yeah, social media, it's just like this explosion of like beauty and love and celebration, and it's like made for Instagram.
It is.
Do you know what I mean? It is
made to share.
Yeah. And like there's nothing.
The women are just sharing it more.
Yeah.
That's how we're scaling it up.
We're scaling that shit, and like it's one of those things. Like people obviously don't see the analytics of a post, but like the saves on a bridal post, if you've got the right dress.
That's Crash, if you can hear him.
He's just turning himself into a nun. He's in his nun era.
He's in his nun era.
Yeah, it's made for Instagram is what it is. I think it's just like the perfect storm.
And I get what you mean. You just like, it's the one time you get to, as a woman to just unleash your creativity.
Yes.
Like you can be like, this is who I am. This is my fairy tale. And you story tell as a woman, which is such our natural inclination of this will happen and this will lead here. And when else in your life for that, like, you know, for any of us, do we really get to do that to that scale? It's kind of like your own banquet.
It is. It is. It's like a freaking exhibition of your life and your story, right?
It is.
And yeah, it does so well on social because it's so visual, it's heartfelt,
It's captivating, it's emotional, it's everything. Everything.
We
love it.
We love it.
It's for the girls.
It is. It sure is. Yeah, no, it's magic. And I love social media. Like me and Leighton, people don't know this about us, but we've been, like you, making social media content
For ages.
for years.
Well, you had was it a chicken Instagram page or a food Instagram?
A burger account. A chicken account. Yeah. Fried chicken. Goes hard. Yeah. No, we did burgers. Little Miss Burger Bun, shout out. That's right.
That's it.
Yeah. And like we did that and we did pretty good with it. Like we got to the point we were getting invited to
you get free
events.
burgers?
Yeah, we got free burgers, man.
That's awesome.
It was awesome.
Yeah.
At that point in my life, I really liked burgers. Like I said.
I still do.
Yes. And yeah, then we did YouTube and then we did Natalie Rose Bridal, you know? And so it's been a real evolution.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah.
Were your first Natalie Rose Bridal videos successful?
There was a few.
Leighton is laughing behind the camera.
Yeah, I mean.
There's one that they did with, like, it has pockets.
Yes.
That was successful?
Not so much. It was successful in a way. Like, I feel like Instagram has changed so much even in the last 4 years.
Me too.
It's like a whole different world.
Whole new world.
Yeah, it is. And so it was successful to the point that I was booking bookings through the content I was making. So that's something I wanted to touch on because I know there's a question coming up around the business
I've got
account.
a whole card on that coming up.
Yeah.
A lot of people had questions on this. So
Should we get into one?
Let's get into one.
Yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, like, this is assume where I'm going to...
Yeah.
But this, you had a lot of listener questions on this as well, which was creating a successful social media account for a business is very different to creating it for a personality or as a person.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot of my friends who have businesses and whatnot and are trying to get themselves out there on social media, it's hard.
Mm-hmm.
It's harder.
Mm-hmm.
It's easier to do it for a personality because you've almost got more little unique touch points and people naturally trust you more because you're not technically selling them anything. And I think, like, how have you created such an engaging business page that feels like a personality?
You actually said it. So I've never treated Instagram as a place to sell. I've only ever used Instagram as a place to, like, inspire and delight people.
Yeah.
And that then maybe, hopefully, if I'm fortunate enough, will lead to a booking where someone may come in and give me the opportunity to do their dress. So I've never, ever tried to sell. And I think that's the biggest thing because...
Oh, that's hard.
It is.
Yeah. No, you like it's great, but it's challenging also.
Yeah, and I think that's how I've done it.
Yeah, but it's worked.
Yeah. And so I think, like, I've just always thought about it as a community and as a place to inspire and delight people and just get people excited about their fittings, right? Because it is very matter of fact. Like, we do wedding dresses. Here's some wedding dress content, and I add in little bits of, like, I don't know if it's interesting, like we did the colour palette video the other day with Georgette. You know, little bits and pieces that are maybe still fashion related. Of course, we do real brides. Like, I just try to keep it lighthearted and, like, just sort of...
inspiring.
Yeah, inspiring and like a bit magical. And I just think it feels like a safe space. Like, I don't think people would ever come onto my social media and hopefully ever, you know, I don't think they'd get offended by anything.
No.
You know, like, I don't think I'd be triggering people in any way. So I think I've always been very conscious of things like, you know, for me personally, I'm quite private in the fact that, like, if I'm doing something really fabulous, like I was on my honeymoon, for example, I bought my dream bag at McQueen's flagship store. And even though I'm talking about it now, I didn't actually put that on social media.
Yeah.
And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah.
But I've always been super conscious not to, like, flaunt little things like that. Because for me, I'm just like, could this potentially make someone feel a certain type of way? And so, yeah, there's a lot of things I've probably thought about over the years to curate and create the page that it is today. I'm very aware of how things can make people feel when it comes to that wealth position because I've been in the place of poverty. you know? And it is freaking crazy, you know? And so I don't ever want to create that kind of a
atmosphere on your page.
Yeah.
And it kind of comes down to both your internal and business values, like what you're chasing. Something like affirmation or significance is something that you'd be chasing, you know, posting certain type of content versus going full creativity, love, inspiration, just it's like content based in your content opposed to motive and strategy and sales and I'm very much the same of like I've always just wanted, like I went on a podcast the other day and they were talking to me and this guy was like, he was like, how long do you spend in your DMs talking to people? And I was like, oh, I probably do it for like an hour a day. Like I have girls voice note me often about their skin. I talk a lot about hormonal acne and we'll open up this full conversation. They'll literally go to my direct naturopath and things like that. And they're like they're friends. We grew up together. They're actually people to me. It's never been, but then I do have like the real glam side, but I love how I know what you mean in terms of, I love that you're conscious of that and that you think about that and it's just coming from this like loving place, which makes a lot of sense. And I think that's what helps it kind of stand out. Have you ever felt pressure to conform to aesthetics that you were seeing out there? Because in bridal, there's a lot of like trend and you kind of touched on it with brides thinking they wanted a certain dress because it was trending on Pinterest and whatnot. How have you kind of blocked that out or not let yourself engage too deeply?
So the question is like conforming to
me conforming. Have you ever felt pressure to conform to bridal trends, I guess, on socials?
Well, I'm in a very fortunate position that I can purchase the trending gowns. And so for people that want that style, we absolutely provide it. Or if the question is, have I ever felt like pressure to conform in terms of what I'm doing? Absolutely not. Like I actually rebel against them. I almost think
such a good word, rebel.
Yeah, like you know,
Rebelling.
Yeah, like it sounds silly, but like even in high school, like I was a rebel. Like I had a mohawk, and I was like,
Did you?
Absolutely, yeah. I know. I knew you'd die. I had a mohawk.
Like a proper mohawk?
Proper mohawk. I was like, I was like proper, like
a big
punk
mohawk.
rock. Yeah, I was hardcore. Wow. I was. And Taranaki, like anyone who knows Taranaki.
That's so good.
Because we moved to Taranaki when we were like 7, 8, so like early 2000s. Taranaki's very dark. Like it's got a dark energy and like, yeah, it's a freaking interesting place. And I always laugh about how I'm a bogan because I've spent a lot of time in Taranaki. But I remember, you know, the minute I knew someone was listening to a band I was listening to, I was like, nope, no longer. That's too mainstream. Too mainstream. Like I've always pushed against mainstream. So me as a person, I literally just go the opposite direction. And I'm really interested in people who do that in life in general. Yeah. Like, what's everyone doing? Okay, let's do the opposite. Warren Buffett, for example, he always talks about doing the opposite.
Yeah.
And so that is like, again, where I kind of just my mind goes every single time. I'm like, oh, everyone's doing the basque waist now, which is that like V waist, which was not a thing. But when I got married, I was like, I want to look like a Victorian princess. Yeah. And everyone told me I looked like Maleficent. Angelina Jolie's fucking hot, so I took it.
Great.
I took it. But I was told I looked gothic and all these things. And now everyone wants to do that. And so I'm like, okay, no more basque waist. But I will always do basque waist because I love them. But no, I've never, ever felt that pressure to conform, whether it's with content. But like I said, we're very lucky, the designers we work with, and like Eva Linda, who are our bread and butter, they are incredible at like understanding what the market wants and delivering. And so I'm so lucky I can work with
the trends without onboarding the pressure of the trends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, it does not matter if someone ends up picking a dress that's doing super well. Like it's about how you feel. And like
100%.
you can make something that's super popular, let's just say, look so unique. One dress can look like 10 different dresses on 10 different girls. Like, so I never really, worry about that sort of thing too. And another thing, and this is actually more for the listeners, is like, no one at your wedding has been looking at what's trending on social media.
Yeah, apart from you.
Apart from you. So
You've
only
been
you
all
know.
over it for a year and everyone else has been at their job.
Yeah, no one knows
Yeah.
what's trending, so they're
Yes,
just going to
I get
see
it.
you and be like, oh my
She looks
gosh.
beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
Such a good point.
You know.
You're the deepest in it out of everyone.
yeah.
Yep.
So don't worry. Like if you love the dress that Cass put on and it got 10 million views.
Yeah, we're going to
so
do that
be
one.
it.
Yeah.
Who cares?
Who
It's a
cares?
bloody amazing dress, clearly.
That's really cool. That's good advice. Whilst we're on the topic, because you had a lot of questions on this also, and I guess I'll ask you the question almost away from bridal. What is your tip for content creation? We were also talking a little bit about this off camera with actually people trying to make reels, thinking about getting a model in for their business, whatever it is, creating engaging content. Do you have any secrets or tips or little formula that you've followed to do that so successfully?
Practice, of course, which I know doesn't actually help anyone, but practice is key. Just do it.
Yeah.
But like the way I work, and I'm just going to get into a little bit of nitty gritty detail because sometimes that's
what we need.
Yeah, the way I sort of do
That's a bit of
things.
detail.
Yes. The way I sort of plan a content day is I will go through a period of research. So I'll sort of look at what's doing well and I'll be like, okay, so how can I put my unique spin on that?
Yeah.
Like there's a, sorry, I can't remember her name, but there's this amazing creator who is just like a fashion girly and does like incredible outfits, but she does this cool movement between each shot. And I saw a reel that was life is a circus, dress accordingly. And I was like, life as a fairy tale, dress accordingly. And so we did our princess ones just recently. And so then what I do is I'll get my ideas and then we have our like go-tos. Like if we've got a new collection, we'll do podium stuff, which we're just going to show you the new dresses, like so cool. And then I will make a plan and you'll see me with my check sheet.
Yeah, Nat has a plan. She's got a sheet.
We've got stations, we've got check sheets.
But it means you get everything you need.
Yeah. Like,
okay, so you're taking inspiration, figuring out how to make it your own, and then you're making a plan and you're bringing that into your content creation.
That's it.
Right.
And I go as far to like each shot I need of each look.
Yeah.
You will know this from doing it with me where I'm like, okay, we're going to do standard, princess, and a jump.
So you're prepared, essentially. Yeah. You're really prepared.
Yeah. And I make a check sheet and I tick it off, physically tick it off, so I know that I'm getting what I need.
And you're doing a big content day and then you're banking that content to post over a period of time?
100%. And then also we make our UGC stuff, which does so well, has done the best. So don't stress if you don't have a professional videographer or a professional camera because iPhone content arguably does better.
Yeah, so UGC content for anyone who's not social media talking is user-generated content, meaning that's the shots of like me in the mirror with the iPhone or it's iPhone content.
Yeah.
It's casual.
It feels more like
girl in the mirror taking selfie.
Yeah, exactly. Nailed it. So we do the stuff we plan, but then we also, make iPhone videos of you in the mirror posing, that sort of stuff
Variety.
that can just be remodeled and reworked in different ways depending on what we feel is doing well. So there is structure, there is a plan, but then there is also some fluid stuff that we can just allow to be reworked.
Do you have a goal of how often you're trying to post a week?
I try post daily, if not every other day.
Yeah.
And that comes down to, as a business, if you're not being seen and you're not in someone's mind, they're not going to book you.
Yeah.
And I'm a data lover, whatever you want to call it. I ask every single person who comes in my door, how did you find me? Because I'm gathering.
What do they say?
It's a mix at the minute.
Okay.
So in the early days, it was purely social media.
Yeah.
But now it's also Google. Now it's also word of mouth. Now it's like all sorts. But it's really, it's a tool, and so don't leave anything on the table. And if I'm not posting.
That's great advice. That's really, really, really important, I think.
Yeah.
Don't leave anything on the table.
Because if you just choose, I can't be bothered, you might not get a booking, which might result in a sale, which then allows you to invest back into yourself. Yeah. Like it snowballs. And so the way I see it, if I'm not posting, I'm not getting bookings. And there is no choice there for me. It's very obvious what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
It's a non-negotiable.
With your page growing as much as it has recently, has your bookings increased? Or is that because I feel like that those viral style videos
Go overseas.
started, are quite like American based, I guess.
Yes, it's been really, really interesting. And this is another really, I think, important thing for people to understand. Do not stress about numbers. If you
Yeah.
get 200 views, that's 200 people that could see and then potentially message you about your product or whatever it is. Viral content does not equal business success. What ends up happening, and it's actually affected our SEO, which again, for people who don't know, SEO is search engine optimization, which is when you look for something on Google, it shows how far you rank. So we were top of page 1 for quite some time. However, now, because of all of our viral content and our audience growing overseas, our ranking's getting a bit askew. It's still okay, we're on page 1, everything's okay, but it is actually affecting that because we're getting searching from overseas. So people in America are searching Natalie Rose Bridal, people in Asia are searching Natalie Rose Bridal, and so Google then goes, oh, this isn't just a New Zealand-based business. So there is more bookings. Like, business is fantastic. There are no complaints, but don't ever think that you have to get huge numbers. It's honestly like, it does not correlate to your financial books at the end of the year. Believe it or not, it doesn't. Yeah.
It's like you've got two conversations on social media right now. You've got the conversation of big numbers, viral content, those wow moments, and then you've got engaging. And engaging is almost direct creator to viewer. So that's the point where, like, people messaging me about my skin, or people, you know, so excited to see you in the Pink Palace and what they've seen. It's almost like a friendship base. And if you're going to sell, you'll actually sell from that before you'd sell from the big numbers. But from where we're at right now, you kind of need both.
You do.
Yeah, and I guess it's just creating that balance. Yeah.
Yeah, it's relationship building, like you said, is so significant. So you got to do it all. You got to do it all. And yeah, I remember, like, there was maybe someone asking about, like, do I have someone helping me with social media?
A lot of people asked you that.
I obviously have an amazing team. So we have you, we have Leighton, husband, yes, behind the camera, who come to the shoot days and help me. And Leighton does edit some reels for me as well, absolutely. But in terms of posting, in terms of managing DMs, like, all of that is me. And I think it's so crucial and I want to say the first 5 years, 10 years even, like, you got to be prepared to do that. Like, if you're just offloading social media, then you're not going to understand the nuances and the changes in the algorithm and all of those things that happen that you're only ever going to understand by being a practitioner.
It's like a pulse. You feel it.
You're
feeling your customer or your follower.
Yeah.
So you're feeling them day to day, where they're at, what they like, what they don't like. You know, are we enjoying this? Oh, I kind of like that from them. And you're learning from them at the same time. And if you as the owner aren't holding that, you can outsource things around it. Like, you know, filming is touch points because we all need help. But I think that's great advice for anyone out there. Like, do as much of that as you can, because that's kind of the heartbeat, as much as we don't want to admit it maybe in society right now. Social media is such a heartbeat and it's a currency.
It is.
It is.
And I love social media, and I know that there are, like, conversations around it and how it's affecting people, especially children. But as a business owner, it's removed the gatekeepers from society.
Yeah.
Like we were talking about the other day, like, the world is smaller now. There is no longer, like, you have to get in Vogue and you have to know Anna Wintour to be someone in fashion.
100%.
Like, that's freaking amazing. Everyone has the same opportunity now. So yeah, I think social media is an absolute gift, and I choose to see it as a positive. And if I'm doing things like doom scrolling or being on my phone late at night, like, I check myself. But, like, yeah, I don't think we need to, like, ever see it as a negative.
No.
I think where it gets a bit scary, and I don't even want to go into this, is, like, we are monkeys at the end of the day. Our brains are monkeys, and the algorithms are way more sophisticated than us. So know that, be aware of it, and then be like, but do you know what you can't do, algorithm? You can't stop me from turning my phone off.
Yeah.
You know, you have that power always, and never forget that. But as a business owner, Yeah, do not leave anything on the
I
table.
think that was such good advice.
Yeah.
It's advice that I've taken. Because
Just recently.
yeah, I have a business called Models, and I really took inspiration from Nat and Leighton and was like, okay, let me start posting every day and just removing the pressure of this has to be perfect and this has to be my favorite reel of all time, and it has to be like cookie cutter and glossed, because I came from that like really perfected era of social media and just being like, let me take the walls down, let me be myself, let me just have fun and trial things, and I'll get better as I go, and it might not be my best right now. And also just going like, oh, someone might like this.
Absolutely.
Like if 2 people smile or 2 people learn a little wellness tip they didn't know, like I've done a great job.
I'm so sorry.
No, that's fine. Or even like if one person, you know, learns something from your content or enjoys it, I think that's a win, because that's always what I'm going for, is just to like make someone happy or teach someone something they didn't know that might improve their life or improve them. Yeah.
And Cass, you know that my favourite stuff about you is the real stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
What's the favourite thing about anyone would have with anyone, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I love to see it. I want to see more. I want more tips. I literally put on a better outfit and was like, no, I'm not just going to like, you know, I'm not just going to, I was almost going to wear like, you know, active wear today. And then I was like, hang on a minute. And I think because I'm in my home. And I was like, no. Put on something that you feel sexy in and you will perform better.
It's true. It's true.
It's true.
Yeah.
Even when you said about like, you know, like it's your active wear, you're going to work harder. And I'm like, it's so true.
Oh,
It's huge.
I'm so much nicer to people.
Yeah. It is huge.
I'm a better human.
Yeah.
It's like, it is what it is. You feel good, you are good.
Key tip.
Key tip.
Yeah, I love it.
I had this really great moment. I hope he doesn't mind, Leo, my hairdresser. I was getting my hair done and he's like, look, you know, this podcasting stuff, he's like, it really shocks me that people need to be reminded of some of the stuff you say. He's like, I think it should kind of be common sense to, you know, work hard or value yourself or all these self-help tips. And I was like, oh, I can see how you think that. And I'm like, look, a lot of people really resonate with it. And sometimes you need a reminder. And sometimes I need a reminder. So I guess I'm making it for the people who might need a reminder or who are going through a really hard time in their life. Because I went through a really hard time in my life. And when you have the storm cloud, you can't see the sunshine. So I'm just trying to be the sunshine.
Love it.
And then about 2 weeks later, I get a voice note and he's like, I listened to a podcast. It was so good. I cannot believe it. Why haven't I been listening to this? That changed my life. I'm so sorry I said that to you.
Was it the top 5 things to do?
Yeah, no, it was how to not your burnout survival guide.
Oh, very good podcast. What's the one that I love? Is it
Top 5 tips to be your most successful self immediately.
If you haven't listened to that, people, go back and listen to it right now. It's incredible.
I like that you like that one. That one was I was trying to be quite concise, which is good. Like I was going for like just value.
It was immense, and I put my sister onto it, and I know she messaged you.
Yes, she did.
She was like, oh, you know, have you been reading about Khaleesi and rah rah rah? Because me and my sister are that way inclined, you know. And it was like you just like you went for the jugular.
Yeah.
You were just like in there. Like I remember I listened to it at night in Dunedin, and then I was just wired. I was like, far out, I'm not going to bed anytime soon. But then I was like already excited to listen to it again the next day. And I walked along the beach and I listened to it again. And I was just like, oh yes, get into my brain. Like,
isn't it crazy when you listen to things the second time, what you hear that you didn't hear the first time? Isn't that nuts?
it's like reading or whatever.
It really is so true. Like
yeah.
if you find something quite valuable, like listen to it twice and you'll pick up different things the second time.
100%.
I am so fascinated with your approach to creativity. And I always say this to Nat. Like I always am just so in awe of how you've maintained creativity, I guess, consistently and grow in it. And just being a creative person is actually really challenging. Like for me, I've had these moments of creativity and then I almost feel like I need to rest after I've created. What do you do to live a creative life and to find inspiration, keep that candle burning, basically?
Yeah, I saw this question and I was like, yeah, I mean, I think for me, I've always seen being creative as a real privilege. And I think you have to be in a safe space, in a supportive space to allow that part of your mind to flourish. And so for a long time, you know, when I was sort of operating out of more of a place of fear and survival, which, you know, in fairness to that place and that time in my life, like I achieved a lot, you know, I achieved a lot, but there was no creativity.
Like, do we need more fear and survival?
And I had no, I didn't like prioritize creativity at that point in my life. Like that was just like a nice to have, not a need to have. And so now I feel like I've fought so hard to, you know, be able to be creative and to be able to express myself that I think I'm almost just like, absolutely no way am I gonna not be creative, because I fought tooth and nail to be creative, you know? And so I also think like, I don't ever think of, okay, I'm gonna sit down and like do my spinning or do whatever. I always just like have a thought come to me, I'll quickly write a note down or I'll quickly draw something. Like I'm actively...
So important.
What?
If you have creativity strike, write it down immediately.
Immediately.
Because that's it knocking on your door. And if you don't and you ignore that, that's how you... I notice how it dulls down.
Yes.
Keep going.
Yes.
Sorry, that's so
not
crucial.
At all.
That's such a massive tip, I reckon, for creatives.
Yeah, and I just like, I am okay with the fact that maybe my creative moment is 5 minutes, 10 minutes.
Yes.
Or it might be 2 hours at the end of the day.
No judgment on what it looks like.
No, and I'm a really romantic person, and I sometimes beat myself up for the fact that I'm not sewing every single dress in my sewing room upstairs, because I am that romantic that I should be the one sewing everything. And I don't even allow myself to get out of that space. I think that's what it actually comes down to. Like I just choose to live and breathe it every day. If I'm not actively doing something creative, all I want to do is watch something on one of the people that inspire me. Like,
totally.
Or I'll be reading. Like I'm genuinely actively living in that creative space. And so I don't ever feel that I have to get into it, because I'm always in it. Yeah, I hope that's okay, because I was like,
100%.
yeah, it is just, this is the way I live my life.
You're letting it consume you, kind of.
100%.
And if you're not creating, you're consuming inspirational content.
Yes.
Yeah.
Research is a huge part of my process around, like, you know, like if we're doing a shoot and we're, you know, doing, you know, like we did with Serena, I find the process of research so inspiring. Like I might see the shape of something, or someone might write one line sentence, and it just like opens up a floodgate, you know? And so I'm actively trying to search it out, and I'm not waiting for it to come to me.
Yeah. I think that's such huge advice too for people, is to find the thing that you are like a dog with a bone, and you cannot let it go, and you naturally, without thinking, are constantly going down the rabbit hole. Like I always say, my biggest question in life is, how do excellent people become excellent? And that's why I have this podcast and why you're here. You're an excellent person.
Thank you.
And I am so fascinated by like mindset, neuroscience, processes, routines, like how people tick kind of thing. And yeah, exactly like you said, that's I will never let go of that. If I'm not doing that or having these conversations or posting on Instagram, I'm learning about it. I'm reading the books, I'm listening to the podcasts, and it just runs like that track. And I guess, yeah, for the things that you feel like you're popping in and out of, maybe question like, is this the right thing, or am I in the right place? Or
yeah, my experience is
just
when you know,
stay in.
you know. And yeah,
just
when
stay
you
in.
found that thing, you do know. So if it doesn't feel like that, maybe keep going, maybe try something new.
yeah,
Because
or adjust it.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
I genuinely am so obsessed with what I do. I'm obsessed with fashion and understanding the construction and the people that inspire me, like how they come up with collections and concepts. And yeah, I'm just...
Do you ever have a creative block?
Yeah, I knew you were going to ask me this. And I'm like, I probably do, but then I'm so... Like through the process of trying to understand myself, trying to understand my father, I'm always sort of drawn to things that then like relight that flame again. Like when I'm blocked, I'm like, what is it that's blocking me, as opposed to why am I creatively blocked?
Oh, I love that.
You know?
I love that.
Yeah, I think it's I think humans...
Because that's the root.
Yeah, humans are creative. We are sorry, let's just move, Crash. We, like, in my opinion, are put on this earth to create. And I think people actually help others through their creativity.
It's how anything came to be almost.
Yeah, and like the way you create has helped me, has helped so many countless women. And so I think, it's like your God-given right. And I think, like it's going to be part of you. You just need to figure out who that is. And that's why I said, like, what's blocking me? What do I need to understand about me in order to get back onto that path? You know?
I don't know if you agree with this, but I feel like the more shadow work and hard-hitting therapy work I did, or the closer I got to my authentic self, my creativity got stronger. 100%. And I became less scared of things like imposter syndrome and yada yada when I worked on me, instead of seeing it as, oh, it's this work or creativity project out here. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, it is it's all you.
It's all you.
Yeah, it's all you. And it's how you choose to express that, like, unique expression. Like, that's how you're actually processing a lot of that darkness in you, or whatever it is that you're trying to work through, is through your creative process. So, like, the big shoot we did at the St. James Theatre and the derelict old theatre, and it was all about, like, you know, women and the different chapters of becoming a woman and all of that. That was something I was trying to work through myself.
Yeah.
And the amount of messages I got about that and how it helped people and how it, you know, inspired others. And I'm like, so cool. You know, like, that was something I did for me because it was cathartic, but I was, like, actually helping others. And it's the same with what you do. So, yeah, just let it be
healing.
Personal. Yeah.
It's healing to be creative, and it's healing to put yourself out there. And I think the question comes up of, like, creativity and commerce. Some people are creative for commerce, like we were talking about with social media, to sell, versus creating for you. Like, almost a process of the audience comes last.
Yes.
But that's when it almost resonates the best. Yeah.
I honestly think, like, we, again, live in a world, thanks to social media, where you can make money off anything. Like, it's pretty
Truly.
epic. And if that means you have to work in a cafe while you do that other thing, like, I know, is it Board George? She worked in a cafe and then she got her business off the ground. Like, I was listening to her and I'm like, go for it. Like, just be humble. Don't worry if you can't have your fancy ass flat in the middle of town or whatever it is. Like, you know, me and Leighton have had so many periods in our life where we lived on 2-minute noodles and we had a £50 grocery, sorry, I'm going back to when we were in the UK, you know, $100 grocery budget because we were saving for our goals, and we were never afraid to, like, strip life back in pursuit of the big things we wanted. So, yeah.
So powerful.
Yeah.
You touched on it. Are you someone who sets goals for yourself, or are you, like, a manifestation girly?
I do some things. I do some little things. I've written goals. Oh, the crystals. I've got my big Lilith rock. This is a agate from my sister. It's actually from New Zealand, this agate as well. It's not just, like, imported from, anyway. It's a good one. It's a good rock.
It's a good rock.
Yes, I do all the things. I've always written goals since I was very young. And I used to, Simone Anderson, shout out Simone, we love you.
Oh, no, gee.
She'll always laugh at me because she came to my house, this is like 10, 12 years ago. She was in my loo and she's like, Natalie, what are your goals doing on the back of your toilet door? I'm like,
love.
well, I bloody read them every day, don't I, love? And she was like, I see what you did. Back of the toilet door.
Cool.
Read them every day.
That's
in the
a great
mind.
tip.
Yeah. I did it with my studies when I was in high school. Like, I was like, I'd be trying to remember stuff, so I was like, I know what to do with this.
Yeah.
So we've always written goals, but the manifesting thing, I mean, there's lots of cool things that I do with the moon and all of that stuff, but let's not get too into that. What I think is really helpful for people to know is I do something called a manifest recording. So I will write my goals and whatever I'm trying to manifest into my life, and I will write them down in a future tense. So I'll be saying, I am so proud of the beautiful reels that me and Cass made, like whatever it is, because you're in there sometimes. And
honoured.
Yeah, you know, whatever it is that I'm trying to bring into my life, I will talk about it as a future tense, and then I get my phone and I record myself saying that big list of things. I'll probably do it 2 or 3 times, so it's about 10 minutes, and I listen to it every single night before I go to bed. And that, like,
We're soulmates.
do you do that?
Yeah.
Do you do that? Yeah, because you're
I'll
wiring
put you
your
onto something.
brain.
It's an app called Parrot,
Okay.
and you record it on Parrot, and it just repeats it back to you.
I love it.
Yeah.
It rewires your mind.
Yes.
And everything I've done comes true. And so I'm like,
And there's a power in your voice saying it, not
Yes.
just affirmations of like,
Yes.
you are loved. You know,
Yes.
it's your actual specific goals.
yes.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's a great.
Do you do that?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, you gotta get on the Parrot app. It's the same
I'm
thing.
getting
Just
on it.
because you say it once, and then it will just repeat.
Cool. Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I have to read it like 2-3 times,
Exactly.
so I
Put it
don't
on
have to do
Parrot.
that.
And
Parrot-
another thing on Parrot is you can just say if you want to do shorter ones, you can just, like I'll do like a little update one. Like halfway through the week,
Love
I have
it.
like something I just want in my brain.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it's good. It's really good.
Because I find myself, I'll do it, and then after 3 months, I really need to update that, and I might put it off.
Yeah.
So that's
a really helpful, practical thing. I love that. I think that
Cool.
will be, people will love that. That's
Yeah.
so, yeah, but long story short, you're a manifestation
into it.
into it. believe in
Absolutely.
it.
I believe in like all the woo-woo.
Yeah.
I'm all into
Same,
it.
I'm full woo.
Full woo. Tarot cards,
Yeah.
crystals,
Spells
sage.
and jars, shart.
Yeah, all of the
I'm all
above.
into it.
Yeah, all of the above. I just think it's like intrinsically feminine, and it just feels it feels like home. It feels comforting, and like there are things that both me and my sister do that we connect over, and it's just like such a beautiful part of being a woman.
It is.
And I think like if you're not into it, cool, like it's all good, but it is just like, yeah, it feels like home.
It does feel like home.
Yeah.
Can you give us a little snapshot into your morning and night routine? The
Yes.
morning and night routine of Nat.
Yeah. And I'm not going to go like, and I get up and I brush my teeth and
I would love that.
Oh,
I'm
no.
so obsessed with detail. I'm like, when
Really?
do you brush the teeth? Is it before or after? Do you tongue scrape? Like, I'm such a weirdo.
I might
You
not
don't
go.
have to
I do tongue scrape, so you know.
I'm like such a wellness girly. I'm like, what?
You are.
Yeah, I'm deep into it. But like, do you have like a
little
set yourself
bit.
up for success process at the beginning or end of the day?
A little bit. It's definitely probably not on your scale, but I
It's probably healthy to not be on risk.
yeah, but that's your thing,
That's my
right?
thing.
You know, like that's
Yeah.
your thing.
Oh, totally.
You're not watching multiple bloody catwalks at night before you go to bed. Do you know what I mean?
No,
like
no, I've
that's
got
my
the Omniax light on.
Yeah, exactly, right? Like, go you. my little things that I do, first thing in the morning when we get up, we have Crash come up and we have a cuddle with Crash, which is actually a
Lovely.
beautiful thing.
Yes.
And then we take him for a walk in this beautiful natural reserve. It's an hour. It's just me and Leighton off our phones. We have our coffee.
Is
and
this
we're-
early?
This is early. And we're in
Like
nature.
6:37.
7 a.m. Like it
7
depends. It depends on the day. Like we might
Yeah.
get up at 6 if we've
Yeah.
got to get to
Yeah.
to work or whatever. It's the first thing we
You're talking
do.
to like the morning routine queen. So I'm
Yes.
like, when are we doing this?
No.
Where's the sun in the sky? It's bright.
Sun in
Good
the
light
eyeballs,
eyes,
yeah.
Your circadian rhythm.
Yeah, so it's a walk with Crash, it's a coffee, and it's time with my husband.
Yeah.
And then the day gets started. So,
Love that.
So that's the first thing.
Beautiful.
And there are other little tidbits like water and vitamins and all of those good
Yeah.
things. But I think fundamentally it's always a walk, sunshine, time with my love and
Love
my,
that.
my doggo. And nighttime, this is a funny one because I don't, other than like, you know, I wash my face and I do all my things, but I always have a Santi bar at night, which I know sounds hilarious,
What
but
is a Santi
it's
bar?
the little skinny Whittaker's chocolate bars.
Oh, yeah.
You know?
Yeah. They used to give me that in a mocha.
Yeah,
At
so
Shaky Isles at uni.
yeah, so I have this thing at night once and this could be at 8 o'clock, this could be 9 o'clock, because
love
sometimes your
that.
girls working like right up until, you know, I'm going to bed sometimes. But when I sit down and I put Love Island on and I have my Santi bar,
How good is Love Island All Stars?
so good. I love it. I'm obsessed.
Living, and you just have that in your little chocolate.
Yeah, that's
Fine.
my little thing.
That is the purpose of life to me.
Yes.
It's like Love Island and the chocolate bar.
Love Island and chocolate bar. But like it's that like signal to you've done everything you need to do.
Yeah.
And you're gonna have a little treat.
100%.
Yeah, and then I try to like, you know, wind down. So
Wind down.
it's not a very religious kind of
No, but you know, you've got
regimented.
but it's more like pleasure based. You've got your little
Yes.
pleasures.
Yes,
Which I
yes,
think is so
yes.
important. I'm just so passionate about like inspiring anyone out there who doesn't take that moment, regardless of how big or small it is, to just incorporate something.
Yes.
To just not roll out of bed and get straight to the office and sit down right away at a meeting. Do anything. Go stand outside for 5 minutes. Go for your walk
Mm-hmm.
with the dog, husband. Just have a coffee by yourself slowly. Anything.
Mm-hmm.
Anything, because it's, in my opinion, how you tell the universe that you come first.
100%.
That's my philosophy.
And honestly, if it was my last day tomorrow, the things I'd want to do is go for that walk with my husband, have my coffee, have my Santi bar. Those are the things.
Love Island All Stars and catch up on
I would do all of those things.
I would too.
Those are the little pleasures. Yeah, so there you go.
Okay, so we had lots of listener questions for Nat. Thank you so much. I love all the listener questions as always. So what I'm gonna do is fire them through to you, and we're gonna go like rapid fire, quick. Yep, have a drink, get ready. Okay. Oh God, this is quite a strong first question here. What do brides regret the most?
Not going for the dress of their dreams.
Right, as in they play it down?
Yeah, I'm an active participator in I'm going to sound so biased, but like genuinely, there's two things. Not going for the dress of their dreams. I see it in the wedding discussion group where people are like, why did I not go for the dress that I actually wanted? Because they get so budget conscious or whatever it is.
Right.
And not getting a videographer. And again, I sound so biased right now.
I've heard that one.
Yeah.
I've heard that one.
Yeah, it's like a huge regret for people.
Thing,
dress and videographer. And I'm like...
Dress and videographer. There we go. No, I've heard the videographer one.
I'm a swine.
I actually have heard the second one. A couple of friends said that.
Cool.
Okay. All-time favourite dress, or if it's too hard, what's your favourite dress right now?
Oh, wow. It's got to be Elizabeth.
Elizabeth?
Yeah.
She's the one.
Elizabeth is like mother.
Yeah, she is mother.
She is mother.
She's giving.
It's just big. It's like regal. It like looks so
sexy.
good. Yeah, it's just it. It's got it.
Things.
And it's very similar to the dress I wore. So I'm very...
I wore her the other day.
She's gorge. She's gorge.
You feel like a queen.
Elizabeth.
Like a sexy queen.
Queen Elizabeth.
A couple of people asked this actually, was your recommendations on veils? I'm really struggling as I have a super simple dress.
Oh, easy. Go for like dramatic, go for a blusher, maybe get like some beautiful chantilly lace on the edging. So you're simple, but then you bring the drama and the detail with your veil.
Cool.
So I think like it looks perfect. When you have the simple look, you have the option to do the detailed veil, whereas someone's potentially gone for a lacy dress, it then might start to feel too much.
Do most people get a veil?
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Ask Nat her best and worst influencer dress that she's seen over the last few years. You don't have to say worst, but we could say some of the best.
Tammy
Hembrow was beautiful. What? Rachel Dillon.
Oh.
Rachel Dillon to me was just like, she wins.
She did.
That was crazy.
Leah
Rachel
DeGloria.
And Tammy.
Yeah, they stick out to me.
They stick out. I remember them.
Someone who I loved was Lily Collins. Because she did like full lace, Oscar de la Renta, I think, and she did a hood, and she looked like Little Riding Hood, and it was just like it was painfully beautiful. Do you know what I mean? It was stunning.
Millie Bobby Brown was beautiful too. She's not an influencer,
but stunning.
Yeah.
Galia LaHave.
Yeah. How frequent are bridezillas?
Honestly, not frequent at all. And I love this question. People are like, do you get lots of bridezillas? You don't. Key thing is communication. If you're able to communicate and set expectations, you're going to be fine. If you're starting a bridal business, that is. Yeah, no, bridezillas are not a thing. They're not a thing. People turn into bridezillas when they don't treat them with the love and respect that they deserve.
Good point.
Yeah.
I like that. Interested in coming to Natalie Rose Bridal, however, I'm over a size 18. Is it still possible? Don't know where to start for plus size dresses.
You're going to be absolutely fine. So we go up to a size 20, but with that we can extend dresses out. But like full stop, if you're concerned about sizing because you're really petite or you're really curvy or anywhere in between, take some measurements of yourself. So get your mum or your friend to take your bust, your waist and your hips, and you can email the bridal store and be like, these are my measurements, these are the dresses I like, is it going to work? And I do that for girls all the time, and then there's no anxiety around, is it going to fit me or not?
Yeah.
That's what I would do if I was genuinely really wanting to make sure I wasn't going to go in somewhere and be instantly made to feel like crap.
But they can come in.
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool.
Totally.
Someone said, did Natalie study bridal? Is it possible to do that, and does she think it's needed?
I don't think any formal study is needed if you're going into a career like this. I didn't study. I have done studies in pattern making and like garment construction, but that's after I started my shop. That's just been like
perfecting.
Yeah, and also just my own romantic like imposter, all of that. Like I had to prove things to myself over the years, No study, just was exposed to mum, and she was an incredible seamstress my whole life. And I'm genuinely obsessed with this industry and fashion in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Final question. How do you decide on the dress? Do you have any pointers for brides tossing up multiple dresses?
Oh, I think try to strip, like, yeah, if you're genuinely struggling between a couple of choices, try to strip everything away. So is there a reason that you're tossing up between two? Did you fall in love with something, but then your friend was like, oh, I'm not sure how the back's sitting? Like, if they didn't say that, or if it was a case of one's $1,000 less, like I said before, if money wasn't a concern, like try to strip those things away, you might find your answer. But I also want to say, like, I remember you said, what's your one tip for brides, or like people, my one thing, and again, I sound biased, but the dress is the only thing that is both internal and external, okay? It's going to make you feel a certain way inside, but it's also how you look on the outside.
Yeah.
So
It's number one.
it's number one.
In my opinion, it is number one.
It is. It
I'll
honestly
get married
is.
in the house on Ponsonby Road if I've got the right dress.
Thank you. So yeah, I just don't think you're being too much.
Yeah.
Ever. Don't think you're being too fussy. Like, dress is number one.
Dress is number one.
Should we finish there?
We can finish there. Where can everyone find you to hang out with you more? At Natalie Rose Bridal on
Yes.
Instagram and TikTok.
Yes.
Anywhere else?
Am I anywhere else? No, I'm nowhere else.
Website?
Yeah, I've got my website. If you
Yeah.
Google Natalie Rose Bridal, we're in Parnell. We are appointment only though, so if you do come and wear it with a bride, we will have to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good to
Yeah.
to explain. Yeah, so appointment only, so you can book with Nat or you can book with Alia.
Yes, or Mishan.
Or Mishan.
And I last thing, whoever you end up getting will be the person that you needed.
Oh,
They all
I
bring
love
different
that.
energies. Yeah.
And they can just book it on your website,
Yeah,
hey?
yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much for
You're
coming on this
welcome.
podcast. It's been an honour.
It's been so good.
That went so fast.
I know. It's been so great. Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you for coming.
Cool.
Bye, team.